I went to India.
How was your trip, man?
You, my friend, are about to find out.
It's time to spend some time with Rick. It's time to spend some time with Rick.
He's a lean and mean former child star, and do him well. Hear him sing, watch him dance, he'll put you under his spell. Behind the scenes, Uncle John or buddy time with his kids. Everybody around the world, tell what time it is.
It's time to spend some time with Rick.
Jump back, kiss myself.
It's time to spend some time with Rick. With Rick.
What time is it?
With Rick.
What time is it?
With Rick.
What time is it?
Yes, as many of you know, I took my second trip to India, my second trip to Calcutta, and I told you I would do a recap, a My Trip to India video, as it were, just like I did the last time, but this would be part 2. And I asked you to go ahead and ask me some questions, and you did, you beautiful, stupid babies. I'm not going to be able to get all of them because you sent me hundreds. Oh yes, I mean hundreds of questions, so I'm only going to be able to get to a few of those. If I didn't get to your question, I'm very sorry. Please don't be heartbroken. For those of you I did get to, you're welcome. And in the meantime, let's have some wine.
Drinking is injurious to your health.
Oh, what a lovely bouquet!
Better than mouthwash.
How awkward was it to go without the toilet papers?
Not sure what you're referring to, my friend, because every establishment that I went to had toilet paper. If you're asking if I used the hose, I did not use that. I only used the toilet paper, but I'll let you in on a little secret, my friends. Come here. I also use wet wipes.
When are you coming back to explore the rest of India?
In March.
Why are you looking a little exhausted in your videos, man?
Because I'm a human being, my friend. International travel can kick your booty.
When are you coming to Mumbai, or Bombay as they say?
In March. Huh? Deja vu.
What is the one thing you learned from the Calcutta meetup that you'd like to improve upon in Delhi?
Well, I did learn this. There were about 100 people that came to that meet and greet, as you know, Rohan. I imagine there's going to be a lot more people in Mumbai and Delhi, and there's going to probably need to be some organizational stuff there that I hope Corbyn's worked on, including some security. Otherwise, it's going to be total pandemonium.
How did it feel meeting Indrani at the airport this time as opposed to last time?
The difference has to do with what I refer to as the overwhelms. There were more overwhelms in that first trip because they were the firsts of everything with Indrani. The first time I ever saw her in person, in 3D, the first time I ever see her head to toe in the flesh versus on a screen on my phone, the first time I ever got to hold her hand, the first time I ever got to look directly into her eyes, the first time I ever got to feel her up alongside of me, the first time I ever got to give her a kiss. All of those things were these overwhelming firsts, as well as my first trip to India, my first trip to Calcutta. This time had some more of a familiarity, and those overwhelms didn't overshadow everything. I could fully drink in and enjoy seeing her again, holding her hand again. It was, I know that hand. I know what it feels like to have her next to me. I know that kiss. And even Calcutta, I know these streets. It was really wonderful to feel a sense of almost familial home in Calcutta. The smells, the sounds, it was really comforting. And I know a lot of that has to do with the fact that when I talk to Indrani, I often hear the horns in the background, and sometimes she's gone off to the store or something and she's videoing me as she's walking. There's a real sense of familiarity that's akin to home that was different this time than the first. But the biggest is the absence of those overwhelms of the firsts, which made this trip even more luxuriating in terms of being able to just bask in the familiarity of, I know that hand, I know that face, and that was really precious.
What absolutely annoyed you during the trip?
Two things that absolutely annoyed me on the trip were the spitting And the urinating. First of all, it's the guys that do this. I didn't see any women doing this. Guys, you really need to clean up your act. And if you're doing this in other parts of India, for the sake and love of all things living and decent, please stop spitting giant hawking loogies and stop peeing in public on the street corners. Had an Uber driver in the car just and open the door and spit and didn't even apologize, nothing. It was just darn nasty. And that happened a lot out on the streets, just publicly out in the streets, not caring and spitting on the street where everybody's walking. And then peeing out in the open, just out by parked cars, guys just urinating right on the edge of the sidewalk. Be really nice if that stopped happening.
In most of your videos during the trip, you mentioned Corbin. Did you miss him so much?
No.
Are you going to marry Andrani?
Well, now that you mention that and now that you ask, I think this would be a good time for me to let all of you know that...
Was there a weird incident that happened to you in India?
There really wasn't a weird incident at all in the entire time that I was there. There was a weird incident on my way to Calcutta in the airport in Shanghai. It wasn't just weird, it was disturbing. I was in the airport in Shanghai in between flights, and I was in this area where a lot of people were waiting. I would say there were approximately 30 people. It wasn't near any of the gates. It was in the international terminal where there's restaurants and places where you can get gifts. And there was a section of chairs and wide open walkways. And in this area not too far away from me, there was a man and a woman who were clearly husband and wife. The woman was holding what looked to be about a 1.5 or 2-year-old little girl. And they were having a pretty heated argument. And the arguing with each other and the raising of their voices lasted for a good 5-6 minutes, enough so that it started to garner the attention of all of us sitting in the area close to them and taking a look. And the woman at one point went to walk away in heated anger, sick of whatever they were arguing about, and the man stepped forward and grabbed the hood of her jacket she was wearing and pulled her backward. And that was beginning to escalate things to a level of physicality that I thought was inappropriate. Now, what I wasn't going to do was step in at that point myself. Had it been in LAX, I might have and gone look for security because, number one, I know everybody there is going to speak English. And number two, I know the laws here a lot better. Last thing I want to do in China is be in a situation where I'm interfering with something and I end up arrested. And I was looking to other men in particular that were there to possibly step in and stop the escalating of what was taking place. There was no security coming around, and this was beginning to escalate. The guy, the dad, I assume, grabbed the little 2-year-old, pulled her away from the mom. The child is now crying rather hard, yelling and shouting back and forth. This kind of an exchange where the mom takes the child, pulls it away, the dad takes the child, is happening for another 2-3 minutes. She goes to walk away again. He physically goes and grabs her arm and pulls her back. I'm looking around for security or any other guy to come and try and step in. Then it escalated to a whole new level. At one point while they're arguing, the man hauls off and slaps her. And I mean, it was gut-wrenchingly disturbing how hard he hit her. He just hauled off, and it made a sound like, it was violent. And everybody made a collective gasp when he did it. If that was LA, I'm all over that, and I'm getting security. The crazy thing is just before he slapped her, this car, this little, it's not a car, it's a little cart, as it were, with some security pulled up, and I thought they were going to intervene. They just sat and watched. Even when the guy slapped her, they did nothing. The woman, after being slapped, took her girl and stormed off. The husband picked up their suitcases, which had been opened up, and they had been taking things around during their argument, and he went to follow her. And what was nauseating was twofold. The fact that he would slap her, ever, let alone in public like that, and that hard, and not one man, including security, did anything. That was the worst, weirdest thing that happened on this trip, and it was not a happy thing for me to see.
Something which took you by surprise, so you were not expecting.
A couple of things took me by surprise, actually, and they both pertain to Stupid Babies and my personal channel. When I first arrived in Calcutta, I had 19,000 subscribers, and when I left, I had 26,000. I was not expecting that, nor was I expecting the fact that I got, on my first 3 videos, within 24 hours, each of my videos got 100,000 views. So that was a really wonderful, pleasant surprise, as was the meet and greet, obviously. If you've seen that video, the meet and greet was beyond anything that Indrani and I had anticipated. It was such a beautiful time. And then the other thing pertaining to Stupid Babies, which really isn't the Stupid Babies, it's the haters. Anytime there's kind of a bump of attention to my channel or to OSR, there are these haters that pop out and say some of the nastiest, ugliest, mean things to me or about me or my relationship with Indrani. But you need to know something, guys. For those of you who've been around a while, which is most of you, you'll know that there have been times where I really didn't like the hatred. And one time, I was even considering not doing anything on Instagram anymore because of the amount of hate that was being directed at me and at my kids and my relationship with Indrani. But after the meet and greet, one of the beautiful things that happened was my being reminded of the great big stupid family and what it means to be a stupid baby. And that's what OSR is for, and that's what this channel is for. It's for you, the stupid babies. And stupid babies are kind, compassionate, educated, long-suffering, empathetic, caring, open-minded. The people who are hateful are jealous and selfish and close-minded and bigoted and prejudiced. They're not stupid babies. And everybody at that meet and greet was a stupid baby. So I gotta tell you, it is a joy now. Truly, it is a joy for me to block people. You might notice on some of my videos now, I'll actually comment to them about them being blocked. I don't do it all the time, but I love blocking the people who are haters because they're not stupid babies, and I feel like I'm doing the stupid family a great service by kicking them out. They don't get privilege, they don't get access. And I try not to respond to them because they also shouldn't get any attention because they're freaking idiots.
What did you like the most in your lunch or dinner?
That shrimp and mustard oil dish that I had for lunch that day with Indrani.
I knew you were gonna.
This is extraordinary. I love you.
That was one of the greatest things I've ever tasted in my life.
Why have you chosen Kolkata only and not Delhi?
Well, number one, we are coming to Delhi, but there are a couple of reasons why I have come to Calcutta twice and will repeatedly go back to Calcutta versus any other city in India. And the main reason is because that's where the love of my life lives. And any opportunity I have to spend time in person with her, I'm taking it. Secondarily, I don't want to go visit any other cities in India without Corbin. I want us to experience that together, the same way we react to things on the channel together for the first time. I want as much of the Indian experience for the first time to be shared with Corbin.
Which is your favorite position, if you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I know what you mean, my friend. Second base. I'm probably shortstop, though. I played a lot of both positions. I've played every position in baseball. Truly, I played third, left field, center field, right field, first base. I've pitched, I've catched. But my favorite position, it's going to be shortstop.
I hope this time you didn't have any issues because of eating.
I did not, thanks to the loving care of my beautiful Indrani, who made sure that I didn't. I didn't have one moment of upset in my tummy, and that made me very, very happy.
Why didn't you visit Echo Park?
I'm sorry. I'll go next time.
Hey Rick, did you try any American food in Calcutta?
Yes, tried 2 dishes, and that was it. Primarily because why would I eat American food in India when I can eat American food in America? I wanted to eat as much as I could of Indian food or Bengali food while I was in Calcutta. But the 2 things I ate, the first were these nachos in one of the hotels I stayed in. And what was hysterical was they were nachos with an Indian flair. Everything that you taste, apparently, this is Indrani confirming for me, that would be Americanized, would give you an Indian flair to it. If that had been served in an American restaurant, it would have been advertised as Mexican nachos with an Indian flair or an Indian touch. The other thing I ate that was definitively American tasting was a chicken pizza that Indrani and I had at the restaurant that's at the top of the Acropolis Mall. And it wasn't an Italian style pizza like you'd get in New York with pepperoni and stuff. That's not the kind of thing it was. There's a common place here called the California Pizza Kitchen, very popular, been around a long time. In fact, I was a waiter at California Pizza Kitchen at one point. The pizza we had tasted like something you could get at California Pizza Kitchen. It was not in any way Indianized. It didn't taste like Indian food at all. It was quite delicious. I would eat it again, but 98% of what I ate when I was there was straight up Indian, as it should be.
What was the last thought you had before leaving India, Precious?
I don't want to leave her.
Before this, did you ever eat food in restaurants with your bare hands?
You do know we have things here in America called hamburgers and hot dogs and pizza, and we have popcorn that we eat with our hands, and we have potato chips that we eat with our hands, and we have french fries that we use our little phalanges for, and burritos and tacos. So there's a number of items of food that we eat on a regular basis with our hands, like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But the kinds of food that are eaten with the hands in India are what are not eaten here. Rice is eaten with a spoon. And for any of you who commented on your opinion that eating with your hands is something that's old and it's not cultured and it's not common, let me let you in on a little secret. In the restaurants where I went with Indrani, many of which were very nice restaurants, a huge proportion of the people there, the majority, were eating rice and things of that nature with their fingers, my friends. And in a recent review of a film that Corbin and I just watched, there was a scene where Deepika is eating with her family, and guess what she's eating with? Her hands. I dig it.
Given a chance, would you ever settle down in India?
Probably not. And it's not because I don't love India or I couldn't adapt to living in India, but I have so many ties to Los Angeles, not the least of which are my beautiful kids and my grandbaby on the way, but to New York as well. And as much as I love India, I still believe deep down in my soul and my heart that I live in the greatest country in the world. I love America. I love living here. I love all of the freedoms and the liberties that are afforded to me. So I can't imagine myself living anywhere outside of America. Again, I'm adaptable. I love India. If the opportunity presented itself and I knew that's what I was supposed to do, I could absolutely do it. But I don't see that happening. I see myself living in America for the rest of my life.
Did people stare at you? How did it make you feel?
Yes, people stared at me. No, it didn't bother me. First of all, I had encountered that on my first trip to Calcutta. And to be honest, 99% of the people you see walking around the streets of Calcutta are Indian. Therefore, a white guy walking around would attract some attention. So I expect that. It didn't bother me one bit. There was one time staring bothered me. And that was when Indrani and I were at a place that was a small location. I was getting some printing done. And there was a gentleman I caught staring at Indrani's butt. And I was staring back at him. Thankfully, when we made eye contact and he saw the look in my eye that said, "You better stop doing that right now, pal," he averted his eyes and got a little uncomfortable and recognized he'd been caught. Had he not and looked back over and kept staring at her, I would have exchanged words with him and we would have had a problem. But other than that, no, being stared at didn't bother me. And I knew a lot of the times people were staring because they were trying to figure out if I was who they thought I was, because I was recognized pretty much every time Indrani and I went out, which was really special.
When you watch Hindi movies, dubbed or English subtitles?
Oh my goodness, everyone, for the sake of all things living and right and good in the world, do not watch things dubbed. Watch them in their original language with subtitles. Thank you. I have spoken.
How was the time with Indrani?
Magical.
Be honest, what food didn't you like, but you kept smiling, said it was amazing?
I would never eat something I don't like and pretend I like it. I don't lie. When you see me react to something on our stupid reactions, if I don't like it, I'm not going to pretend I do. Same thing when I'm eating food on my own channel or doing anything on my own channel. If I don't like it, I'm going to be honest about it. I'm not going to pretend I like it. That is dishonest. So, never happened, never will.
How was your experience with Kolkata traffic?
I figured out what Calcutta traffic is like. In the United States, we have go-kart racing where you can go and you can rent a go-kart. I don't know if you have that wherever you are watching this right now, but in the United States, there's go-kart racing. That is exactly what it's like on the streets of Calcutta. There's no lanes. Well, there may be lanes painted, but people are not going to observe the lanes. That light turns green and everybody's jockeying for position and they're going and get out of my way and honk honk, and everybody front, side, back, over. They're close, they're packed. It's amazing they're not banging into each other and everybody's going, going, going. The pace of the city reminds me of New York. It's let's go, let's go, let's go, which is really refreshing because here in Los Angeles, the drivers in Los Angeles drive like they're drunk, they've taken downers, and they've had a stroke.
Did you see anything in India that broke your heart?
Yes, as a matter of fact, and this is one of the reasons I said what I said a moment ago about wanting to live in the United States for the rest of my life. And the best way I can describe it is the way Indrani described it on my first trip. And she aptly described it as the struggle. Many people on the streets in Calcutta, when you look at their face, you can see what Indrani refers to as the struggle. And it is the reality that they have spent most of their life, if not all of their life, struggling to survive. And you can see the weight of that on their face. You can see the weight of the fact that their income level disallows them from eating what they want to eat or should eat to have a balanced diet. They don't get that luxury. They also don't get the luxury of dreaming about what their future's going to be because of a job they could do or a dream they have for their career, because their present circumstances and the climate in which they live doesn't allow that opportunity for them. There's a sense of hopelessness and a sense of being stuck. Not with everybody, but enough people that you can see it. Life is much harder for people in Calcutta, and I would say probably for the whole of India. Let me tell you something. I recognize something about being an American. Statistics have consistently shown that Americans are in the top 1% of everybody else on planet Earth. In America, I'm considered lower middle class, but compared to the rest of the world, I am a freaking wealthy man. The quality of life that I have, the food that I eat, the cleanliness of my water, the ability to shower and do the things that I do, we in America take it for granted. And I remember my trips to Papua New Guinea and South Africa were the first places where I learned how blessed I am to be in America. When I went to Papua New Guinea, the lesson I learned there, when I came back and saw the difference between my life here and life for people in Papua New Guinea, that taught me how much I really have. And when I went to South Africa, that taught me how much I don't deserve. And in all honesty, my trips to Calcutta have taught me both lessons at the same time. I have so much, and there's so much I don't deserve. You may think I do deserve that, and that's sweet of you to say that, but I gotta tell you, there are millions of beautiful people who will never get the opportunities that I have here. Americans don't understand what it means to live in a country where you can be free and you can dream and you can hope, and the opportunities are there right at your fingertips, where the rest of the world, the majority of the rest of the world, they just are trying to survive. And that's hard, and that breaks my heart and makes me very, very thankful for what I have every single day. And when I become despondent or down, when I come out of those periods of being despondent or down, I really beat myself up because I have nothing to be despondent or down about compared to 99% of the rest of this planet. I am an extraordinarily blessed man to have been born and raised and live in the United States and have the freedoms I do and not have to bear the weight of what the rest of the world carries. And I saw in so many beautiful faces in Calcutta, which is referred to as the struggle. And that right there, my friends, is probably a very good place for us to stop. There is some of my trip to India, and I'm about to take another trip, so there's going to be another video after that, and there will be a lot of behind the scenes for this trip coming up. Guys, you really need to pray for Corbin Miles. You need to pray that his heat index is going to be able to handle all of that. You also need to pray he doesn't go around eating a lot of street food and have deli belly. Actually, that would be kind of funny. Be good content for my channel if he had diarrhea 24/7. No, I really don't want that for him. I really want him to have a good time. We're looking forward to seeing all of you in New Delhi and Mumbai, and then all of my beautiful Bengali brothers and sisters and friends who are living in Calcutta. You can bet I'm going to be back there pretty soon too, because I have a vested interest in coming back there, if you know what I mean. Bye, everybody. Delicious.